Yeah.
I see me and Jack.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, real quickly.
Hello, hello.
You have to click off or something. Like, just click someone else. Ew, gross.
Delicious. Great. Neat. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
He does that a lot. Okay. All right. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Casey Collar. I've worked on Transformers since 2008. Started with All Hail Megatron. And, you know, part-time guy, just jumped on a few spotlights here and there. The issue of Lost Light, a few issues of Robots in Disguise, Optimus Prime. Kind of like, you know, just a fill-in guy. Did a lot of covers. Don't like talking about myself, but here I am. So, yeah, open any questions. Happy to answer them. And I'm just going to be working away at commissions while we do this. So that's what I got for now.
Hello, I'm Jack Lawrence. I started on Transformers books in 2016 with Lost Light, and I've done the Valentine's special, and I've just finished Transformers My Little Pony. I've been in the industry for 17 years, so I'm kind of late coming to Transformers. Yeah, I'm not going to work. I'm just going to sit here and chat with everyone, judge everyone. Yeah, so that's me.
Beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Surprise.
Yeah, I love him.
Hi, guys. Yeah. All of the above. Yeah, Josh Burcham, been on Transformers since forever. Worked on just about everything. The good parts, I mean. No, just kidding. But yeah, here just finished up actually Galaxies number 7, working on number 8 right now. We're almost finishing that up. The little Gauge and RC and Greenlight. Kind of little spotlight story, which is really cool. Finishing that up. Just finished up a creator-owned project with a couple of people you've probably heard of, but probably not for a while. I'll mention that sometime. But really cool retro kind of stuff, like Optimus Prime, like I was doing there, which is fun. And yeah, still coloring, doing stuff. I work Photoshop for all my coloring, Clip Studio for drawing. Yeah, here we are.
Hey everyone, Tom Deere here. So I'm pretty much a colorist. I do a little bit of drawing here and there. I'd say I've been working now for about 10 years at IDW, primarily on Transformers. I'd say lately I've been doing a little bit more cover art, doing some cover art, and not so much Transformers these days. I've been doing a little bit of Star Trek, and I just finished up a Star Wars, Clone Wars comic, doing some coloring. So yeah, that's a bit about me. Yeah.
Gross.
Can I just say that the ruckus, I needed to check my my Twitter handles, was made for me by at WeFormer, who's WeCreation on Twitter, because I'm rubbish with remembering handles, so I want to make sure I got that right. So yeah, WeFormer, if you're in here, he has pride of place at my desk.
She's amazing.
He's glorious, and I love him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thought I'd share a little first aid from
Yeah,
How adorable is that?
they're so good.
Awesome.
Pardon me.
Should I stream it in? I stream it in. Oh, I guess I can look at the chat when I pull this. They can still hear us though, right? Or is it nothing? They're not getting no audio?
I think they could hear.
Cool. Let's see. Okay, they can hear us, but not Josh.
It shows that his microphone's off.
Interesting. All right, so I'll just look through the chat real quick then. Boom, 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 boom. For everyone. Cynic79 says, for everyone, what's something you'd love to work on non-Transformers related? We'll just answer some questions, I guess. How about?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well
Did you hear
said.
that?
You haven't done that yet, Jack? I feel like
No.
Okay, they can hear us, but not Josh.
It shows that his microphone's off.
Interesting. All right, so I'll just look through the chat real quick then. Boom, 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 boom. For everyone. Cynic79 says, for everyone, what's something you'd love to work on non-Transformers related? We'll just answer some questions, I guess. How about?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Did
Well
you hear
said.
that?
You haven't done that yet, Jack? I feel like
No. No, I have not.
Wow.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
sure can.
Non-Transformers related, it says, yeah.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons, without a doubt.
Of course. That was it.
That's all we need.
Wait, did you?
I'll just share that I've been working on Star Trek and Star Wars lately for IDW, and those two titles are really close to my heart, and I'm really happy to be working on those right now.
They're close to my heart, you jerk.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I don't know. Yeah.
Do Final Fantasy adaptation, one of the games, maybe 6 or 7. 6 is my favorite, but it's fun to do like something in that universe.
Mr. Birchman, yeah, I don't know. Something cool, probably. No.
Good answer.
I'd love if they did like more Mass Effect comics. Like I'd like to do something on those. Just I love those games. But yeah, anything Marvel or DC, hey, hit me up. Yeah.
The thing for me is like my thing used to be Spider-Man. I wanted so bad to do Spider-Man or X-Men, and like the more I do this, the more I really don't want to be drawing that shot where he's jumping out the window and there's like the entire cityscape of New York there. I see people post these amazing Spider-Man and Batman commissions that's like 95% of the page is like buildings and stuff. And I'm like, that looks unbelievable, but I never want to do that.
That looks so fun.
Yeah. To be honest, the thing that I would like to do outside of Transformers is my own stuff. I have a handful of ideas in my head, but that
I have one or two.
Nice.
I've got a creator-owned book that got to issue 4 back in 2014. I haven't been able to touch it since then, but that's open-ended. So yeah, if I get the chance and the time, then I will go back to doing some more of that stuff.
Cool.
What's it called?
It's called Tin Pot Hobo. It's called Tin Pot Hobo. I don't think I've got any. Yeah, I have not. But there's a tinpothobo.com, so you can go and have a look at that.
Nice.
I can actually, this is a chat thing, I can actually type it. Is that really? Wow, thank you. They are quick and wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Lawrence.
God. Yeah. Gotta get it out before somebody takes the idea. Oh, love it. I can hear you.
The whole time?
Why?
Oh, Josh Perez.
It's the advantage of being part of the first group.
Yeah.
Looking out the kinks.
A transformer that you'd like to redesign. I actually hate designing them. I hate working out how they transform. I'd rather leave it to everyone else to do that, and then I'll just pick up what they do. So the answer's none for me.
Not even Ruckus.
No, perfect design. No, it'd be sacrilege if I redesigned him. No, that's not my forte. I do snogging robots. I want pre-existing designs that I can make kiss. That's what I care about. I don't want to redesign them.
There you go.
I don't have a particular robot I'd like to redesign either. I love when they resemble the original models, the Marvel and Sunbow models. That's what kind of is close to my heart, what I remember. And
Okay.
you know, so if there's one that's reached a little far from that, I suppose I'd like to redesign it to be closer to the original. But
I got my
those
mic
are what I
working
see in my
fine.
head when I think about the character.
I don't know how the audio is now because I thought we were all on the same level. So if I'm gonna trust the chat to let me know if everyone if they can hear or not hear, because I also just remembered the audio is probably lowered from when I play music during streams. Okay, so Birch, has Bircham answered the question yet? Bircham and Tommy Boy?
Oh, I have not yet.
I've been waiting.
No.
Do it. Go for it. I love
Do
you.
it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh.
Who do I want to redesign? I'm like looking around my room, like, who could I redesign? Yeah, I don't know. I kind of go through and like, if anybody's been following me, like I've done like sketches and stuff. Like I've kind of reinterpreted like in my own style, like Armada and Energon characters and stuff like that, which is fun. So I've kind of done a lot, I guess, sort of. I don't know if I'd like redesign any, but I'd love to like reinterpret like Tidal Wave or something like that, like from Armada, because Tidal Wave's amazing.
Someone put him on a machine voice book. What? Who said that?
Oh yeah, there.
I was
Who
a
said
little,
that, man?
little gremlin running around saying things I want. What about you? What about you, Thomas?
Yeah, I don't think I have any character specifically that I'd like to redesign or update or anything. I think the old school designs do it for me. I think the only thing that I'd like to do is kind of add a little bit of muscle to them when I draw them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Add some more tech to them.
I'm gonna piggyback off that question and ask everyone, what is a Transformers gimmick from the toy lines? Any of the toy lines that you see underutilized in the comics that you would like to see more, and if you would put a different spin on that.
You mean in terms of like Headmaster,
like
Power
Headmasters,
Master,
Target Masters, Breast Masters, Pretenders, Hand-Holding Masters.
Love those.
New Hand-Holding Masters are here.
Masters.
Mr. Crowley.
Master Transformers. The Masters are alive.
I just want to hear you sing about them all.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more
I
done.
love the old. Go ahead.
I was going to say I'd like to see more done with MicroMasters because I think they're awesome, and I don't think they haven't really had. I think there was the Dreamwave, was it 4-issue series?
Yeah.
But aside from that, they haven't really had much of a look in. And I like little tiny things, and I think that they I think I'd just like to see them integrated more.
Yeah,
Give us more Big Daddy.
I definitely agree with that. That's the one thing that's kind of disappointed me with the new Transformer comic that's out. The new iteration is that all the Micromasters are the same size as the regular Transformers. Like Skystalker and them show up, but they're like the size of everyone else, and I don't understand what that's about.
Are they? I haven't got that far. I didn't realize. See, that's such a shame.
What about anyone else on gimmicks? Do y'all have any favorite gimmicks when you were a kid? When you were playing with them as kinder children?
I like the throttle bots back in the day.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, headmasters were always my jam.
Combiners, I would say.
The
Combiners, yeah.
Combiners are really cool. I like when the combiner the combiner idea is when it's not just limited to a 5 or 6 person team, like when you can have 2 people combine, or even like the Micromasters when they combined in just vehicle form. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's fun stuff. Dreadwing and I keep
Darkwing.
Darkwing. I keep wanting to say smoke screen. And, I keep wanting to say that, but yeah, I like that their vehicle mode can combine. All right, let me get to the next one. This one says, what's usually your favorite thing to do? Sketching, inking, or coloring? Let me quickly jump into and apologize to the chat. I'm reading the questions I have right now. I haven't seen any new ones, so apologies. I'll ask for another round. Also, Logan says Action Masters, and yes, Action Masters are the best. But okay, so what's your favorite part of the process? Inking, coloring, sketching, laying out.
I guess inking, if we're talking about the work side of it, but my favourite part of the whole process is the finished product. I don't massively enjoy the process. It's all I know how to do, and it's a vocation, and it's what I have to be doing, but and want to be doing. But it's the final product that makes me love comics. I don't necessarily love working on them.
I'd actually agree with that pretty much. I mean, a lot of it is a chore to get through. You think of it in your head and you're like, oh, that'd be great. And then you go through this grueling process of making it happen. And then you're thinking, why the hell do I do this? And then in the end, if it comes out right, you're like, wow, okay, great. You kind of, the satisfaction of, I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because it's really hard. Anyone who says they enjoy working on comics all the time is not telling the truth, or they're not doing it properly. Because, like long hours and 7-day weeks, aching back and wrist pain and all that. It's horrible, but I love it.
A lot of aspiring artists in the chat who are loving this conversation right now.
Yeah, right.
Well, I think it's best to be honest about it. I think to encourage anyone who wants to do it, to encourage them, and but just to make it clear that if this is what you want to do and it is worth doing, that you've got a long, hard life ahead of you.
Yeah, you also have to be prepared to have something that you do for fun essentially be the thing that causes you stress now. Because it's one thing to be frustrated over like a fan art piece you're doing, or just a piece you're doing in recreation. Because when you're frustrated over it, you can come back to it as much as you want to. You can take a month
you
to
can
work
take
on
your
that
time.
piece. Yeah. But when you do this as a job, you're not given that liberty. And is essentially the thing that you did to relax is going to be the thing that stresses you out the most.
Exactly.
And usually that's outweighed by the passion of doing it. But anyways, so and I don't think Josh or Thomas have answered the question yet either.
Part of the process. Yeah, like I do enjoy coloring, but it's what I do often. I really like when I'm drawing, just the inking part of it. Like I use a lot of heavy blacks and stuff like that, and that's just probably my favorite part, is just scribbling all that stuff in and adding line weights and all that kind of stuff, and really making a sketch turn into a final piece, a finished piece, which is a lot of fun. So inking.
What about you? Did Thomas answer?
No. I'd say sketching is probably the most enjoyable part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like sometimes if I could nail down just the perfect gesture, it's that part is really rewarding. The thing that I think I hate the most is actually inking, because I suck at it. I really suck at inking. And you might have a really great sketch. You might have a really good set of pencils, but you could really wreck it with just the wrong line weight, or you could really wreck it easily. And then when I get to coloring, flatting just it could be really a mundane process.
Flatting is the most important part, the most exciting. And then we need a graphic that says flatting in radical letters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But once I get into the rendering part of coloring, I do enjoy that part, and kind of like what you guys said, the end product. That's probably when it feels most rewarding and worth doing. So if I had to answer, I'd say sketching is probably my most favorite part of the process.
I'm torn between sketching and inking. I feel like a lot of the energy you have in the pencils, for me specifically, because I'm not a fantastic inker, but a lot of the energy I have in pencils tends to lead dramatically in the inks. But I don't know. I kind of like coloring the most because I feel like I can hide a lot of my mistakes with decent coloring.
Yeah, same.
So that tends to work out. This question was asked a little later, but I'm gonna jump it up. It's asked first time questioner wordmongerer. I've never heard of him. Asks what is your favorite 3-sided shape, not counting a triangle?
Who wants to go first?
I'm gonna say it's not a shape that's identifiable by Earth visibilities. It's called the Trinax. It's a three-sided shape, but it's just 3 lines that exist touching each other at various points, and hasn't been discovered here yet. So I mean, that's kind of a breaking news thing.
You kind of stole my thunder.
All right. I'm gonna assume that question's been demolished. What are your tips or suggestions for improving your art? I'm gonna say first off, the obvious answer is gonna be practicing and just making sure that you draw routinely. But is there anything beyond that maybe people can share?
Draw from life.
Yep.
Don't just copy artists that you love. If you want to draw Transformers, then get a Transformer and draw that. But that's not what I really suggest. Get out and draw. I mean, maybe not now, but get out when we don't have a virus and draw a landscape, or go down into town and draw people and just you get a better appreciation of form and space by drawing from life. And I didn't believe that when I was at college. I thought that's a load of rubbish, and I was wrong. I was completely wrong.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it, really. Those are the 2 big ones. I mean, I'm always the biggest proponent of just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it.
Yeah.
When I first started doing this for a job, the first comic I ever did, you have to do 20, at the time it was 22 pages in like somewhere around a month. It's like, I had never worked that fast that much before, and I swear by the end of the comic I was so much better than I was at the beginning, because you have to do it more and more and more and more, and you just learn by repetition.
That's also very important too. Is usually what holds a lot of people back from doing anything, whether it's trying out a new medium or just drawing in the first place, is the idea that the moment pencil touches paper or Cmyk touches paper. It has to be perfect right from the start. What's gonna help you, aside from drawing from what's around you and practicing, is just drawing in the first place. Like, even if you don't know what it is you're gonna draw, sometimes if you just draw a stupid shape or just some kind of some random thing, you can make that into something later. But what's important is to get when you want to draw, to be able to just draw right away. And then you're not going to make masterpieces every time. But that's what tends to stop a lot of people, I think, especially when it comes to just specifically with Transformers, is the idea that I don't know how the arm joint is supposed to work. I don't know how the head joint's supposed to work. Just kind of just jump down and just draw something. If you want to draw Prime, draw Prime. If it looks off, it's gonna look off. And then that's where like studying other people's like the people you like. When I draw a lot of the joint systems I use, it's like a mashup of everyone's stuff, from Joey to Alex to Derek. But just kind of see what you like. Make Transformers move how you want to move in this particular. It's just shoving it into Transformers right now. But I mean, all around, if you're going to draw humans, it does help a lot to learn anatomy. You have to kind of learn the rules before you can break them, and I think that's where a lot of people kind of there's nothing wrong with starting off drawing in like a stylized way. There's nothing wrong with it, but you have to understand how things move and why things move the way they do, so you can bend them and form them as you want to. And then also eat your teeth and take your vitamins. Next question. That's the tips on improving art. What's the strangest thing you've been paid to draw?
Would that be Transformers My Little Pony, Jack?
It's kind of weird, because when you think about it, what's strange? What is strange with what? Because I mean, you would think it would be Transformers My Little Pony, but when it's a canonical comic that's happened, is it that strange?
It's actually, I thought it was actually awesome.
It's brilliant.
What's the I'm gonna morph the question a bit. Let's put this into commissions. What's a commission you've been asked to draw that you've had to stop and be like, I've never been asked to do this before? Like something like, it could be wacky, it could be silly, it could be a character you've never been asked to draw before, that kind of stuff.
There is one. I can't think what it is, and I think it was last year even, and I can't remember. But it was really weird. Megatron, ASMR Megatron, eating honeycomb.
The funniest thing about that picture is that it's ASMR, but it's drawn. Something about that's very funny in an ironic sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never actually did it. I had a guy who asked me, one of my first conventions, he came up to the table and asked if I would draw, in the Bayverse movie style, design and draw a Transformer that looked like Sylvester Stallone. And he handed me a picture of the alt mode, which I think was like a helicopter. So he wanted robot mode and alt mode, and he wanted to look like Sylvester Stallone, and then he said if he comes back and he doesn't like it, he doesn't have to pay for it, right? And I was just
that's how it works.
I do that, sorry.
That's 100% how it works. That's great though. Yeah. I've never been asked to draw someone's likeness. It's kind of funny because it's what's I have such a, I think all of us, what's weird is incredibly subjective to each one of us. But it's such a I drew, someone commissioned me to draw, I'm not trying to get political, but someone commissioned me to draw Trump as Megatron and the White House burning behind him. I think that's one of the more random things I was ever asked to do. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think anything anyone's asked me to draw, I'm like, yeah, that's something I can do. Like, let me get Ratchet wearing surgical gloves, about to give, I don't know, a Rock Lord a prostate exam or something. It's like, all right, here we go. Here's your bill.
I think the strange ones are the most fun. It's just like not boring.
And I'm not trying to encourage people to become very weird at conventions, but I think the other thing is people don't understand that a lot of the stuff that's considered weird isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's stuff that you probably don't want to be picking up at a family convention. But a lot of the stuff that people ask to draw, like their favorite Transformers kissing, or I don't know, draw Heinrad and Tom Nook hanging out. It's all normal. It's all normal stuff, I think.
I do have a lot of people. When they contact me over Twitter or sometimes in person at cons, say I've got a really weird request and I don't know if you can do it, and they tell me, and it's just the least weird thing you can imagine. It's just I can do that. There's nothing. That's completely normal. That's fine. Yeah. There was a guy, and a lovely guy, and we're mates. And this was the first time I met him back in 2011 at a convention, and he came to the table drunk. And because he's British, a lot of people do, and he thought this was absolutely hilarious and the craziest thing that I would ever have been asked for. And he had this big build up to it, and it was Green Lantern creating with his ring a cupcake. And I just had to kind of just say yeah I can do that, and not say to him, what? Who the hell are you? Because it's people who think they're wacky. In fact, I'm more than happy to do what they want me to do, but don't call it what it's not. It's just a normal picture.
Yeah. He just loves his Green Lantern cupcakes.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else has any weirdness that they've been asked to draw or discussions. But,
not especially. I probably blocked it out if I did. No.
Your eyes turned to static, and you just started speaking in tongues and drawing. And then after they gave you the money and left with the piece, you returned to normal.
Yeah, not really for me either.
All right.
I don't really get any crazy commissions.
The next question is: what are your favorite universes of Transformers?
Aside from G1, I'm a big fan of Transformers Prime. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but I think as I got older and the series seemed to be going for a kind of an older audience, I appreciated that series a lot more than, let's say, Cyberverse or Animated or some of those series, which are all fine.
Yeah.
But TF Prime really caught my attention.
Yeah, that's my favorite. TF Prime is my favorite, and I really like Robots in Disguise that came after it as well. I think there's something about that I think is very charming.
What about you?
Okay, good.
Joe? What about you, Casey?
Machine Wars, obviously. No,
I'm with Machine Wars. We're high-fiving right now. Whoops.
Right. Animated is probably one that I like the most. I like the more than just like it's super cool and it's fun and I know Derek and stuff. But I just like the world that it was building, and I wish where's that next season? It did really cool things, like as far as like reinterpreting the lore and doing new things with it, which I thought was really cool.
And design-wise, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Mr. Casey?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Animated was great. Animated came out at the right time, too. My daughter was the perfect age that I could kind of convince her to watch it with me, even though she didn't really care about Transformers. But it was a good quality show, and we could watch it together and both really enjoy it. I thought it was a really nice take on like, and I would say not in a bad way, but it paid enough respect to G1, but also was different. So I really liked that. And, even if I wasn't involved, the IDW continuity was just so groundbreaking and different and new and cool. Again, with the familiar feeling of G1, but they just took it to the next level.
Yeah.
So yeah, I go with that.
I'm gonna say thank you real quick to CookSucks for hosting. That's twitch.tv/CookSucks. He's a buddy of mine. Does our IRL streaming. He's really fun. Thank you for the host. I'm gonna parrot Animated. I can't think of a iteration that I don't like. There's I don't know. I think maybe the Cyberverse adventures. What are they? The those really weird, very simple 3D movie series that they did. It was like
Titan's Return or whatever.
I want to say it was called Cyberverse Adventures or something like that. It was I don't know what it's called. It was like it was based in the Bay universe, but it was done to advertise toys, and you would have like you had like some power core combiners show up, and then you would, I don't know, it was such a weird series. Everything was animated, and everyone's faces looked like decorated cookies. I don't know how to put it past that. Cyber missions, there they are. Thank you, Theater Josh, another Josh coming in to help. Cyber missions, right. but animated, pretty much. It's up there because for the longest time Transformers were drawn one way, and when animated came out, I think it kind of showed everyone you can relax with your Transformer shapes. You could have more cartoony aspects in a Transformer design, and that I feel like a lot of that translated over into series after it. Everything kind of felt like it was a little restricted by what G1 did style wise, and I think animated just showed that you can bring it a little more out there, and you definitely see it in Cyberverse now. And I think Transformers Prime and RID subsequently also kind of said, okay, we can be a little more relaxed with these designs and have more fun with them. So that's fun times. What's the next question? By the way, if I start railroading and someone hasn't answered a question and I move on to the next one, feel free to be like, not me, Josh. See, do any of you use straight edges when drawing Transformers?
No.
No.
Yes.
Never. Yeah.
My rule is if it's living metal, then I draw it freehand. If it's dead metal, then I use a straight edge. Oh. So like guns can be backgrounds, yeah. But the Transformers themselves, no. I like the life that comes from a freehand line.
I like this.
I'll use like what's it called, like paths. When I'm inking digitally, I'll use paths if that counts as straight edges. But outside of that, I think it tends to look better when it's drawn freehand, the metal anyways, because if it's too I've seen people ink digitally with just straight lines often, and the work tends to look very lifeless if you ink with straight lines. I tend to bend my lines if I'm using a straight line, just to get a little bit of, not that. This question says, how can we support you guys remotely? I think it was from someone that was international. I am not copying and pasting names with these questions, unfortunately. So yeah, how can, do any of you have anything up where people can support you or anything like that?
Yes.
Next question.
Yeah. Buy the comics.
Oh yeah. Buy
there you go.
Comics. Are any of y'all? Yeah. Are any of y'all offering commissions or anything at this point?
Not me.
Not right now. I have started, but only just on my. Where should we have been? Florida. On my Florida commissions. Because last week was just it was weird. No, I mean I will open for my next con is in July, so hopefully that's going to go ahead. So I'll be opening, but that's going to be for con attendees. I'm going to see how the year goes, but it doesn't really. I don't know. There's a lot of, justifiably, there's a lot of people worried about creators, but do we think it's going to affect? I know I've got work lined up for the rest of the year. Is it going to affect us in the same way as it will affect? Because our business isn't. Our incomes are not dependent on conventions, are they?
No. I mean,
I'm speaking for myself.
No, I think a lot of us are probably have money coming in from projects at the very least. So I think a lot of us should be fine. I do think that losing the conventions does throw a wrench in finances when you're trying to when you're not expecting the rug to be pulled out from under you over something that you couldn't predict.
Yes.
But I think
Yes, absolutely.
outside of that, I think a lot of I'm going to say artists in general that are working professionally, because lockdown doesn't really affect us. We're almost always on lockdown working.
No, I guess what I'm saying is that there are people out there who it is going to affect, and if I'm only speaking for myself, if there's someone else that you can support rather than me, then do that, because I'm fine.
I think I know Casey and a couple others have started chains of especially the artists that were going to be in Artist Alley, like a lot of the fan artists that were coming to the show who they probably need the support. I definitely would.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would suggest trying to find your favorite fan artist and throwing them some like a Ko-fi or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that would be nice. I mean, like the Ko-fi site. Don't like fill a hot cup and find them. And that's one, you shouldn't leave your house, and two, that's dangerous. Unless that's their thing, then you're helping them out a little bit. But you got to know that person intimately for that.
Yeah, I will be offering commissions. I'll advertise it over like Twitter and stuff if any of you guys follow me. I'm thinking about doing like just like cheap little black and white sketch commissions like I've done before in the past. Black and white, whatever character, and like some grayscale or like zip tones, that kind of thing. I'll advertise that as far as anything else. Like I do have like what's it called? There's a PayPal.me thing I have set up through my website. Nobody ever uses it, but if you feel like like tipping or anything or whatever, digital tip jar, you're more than welcome to. As far as to echo what these guys said, like day to day, my life is the same right now. I think it's a separate conversation that we could potentially have if we wanted to discuss like how shutdown is gonna in the long run affect the comic book industry, if at all. That's a whole nother thing. We were talking, we have a group of other colorists that we kind of chat with in a private DM. We were kind of talking about that last night, just about the impact this is going to have on the market. Are companies going to scale back titles? Are they going to increase prices? Comic shops, are they going to shut down because they can't afford to stay?
Comic shops are getting
viable.
They're all looking at what's the word I'm looking for? Publishers for some sort of incentives on being able to get buybacks or whatever. Well, I don't know what the term is. When companies buy back issues you don't sell.
Right.
I know Image Comics made a statement on that, or something about that. I don't know. But yeah, no, you're right. This is one of those things where a couple, in the future, this might very well, if this is still, if it's just going to keep getting intense, then this might be a different discussion.
It could possibly change the industry, realistically, in a pretty real way. But yeah, just keep supporting your artists, I guess, through commissions and asking, are they taking commissions? Like if you can afford to commission stuff, that'd be awesome. And just ask people, especially now.
And it certainly, if your favorite artists or people that you like, if they've got some means of a tip jar or something, I do think it's nice to throw some something their way, just if you can, because I also know that people are. I've been asked a few times because people who have money that they were going to spend at a convention now, they want to use that money to support creators that they would have used at the show at the show itself. I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore is. Next question. Next question is, if you had a chance to write a TF story as well as draw it, what would it be about?
I would like to do a police procedural with them. I would like Josh Burcham to colour.
Hey.
It'll never happen, but I'd like and have because I love the cop characters, so have the ones who haven't really been used, all as part of a precinct, and not use big name ones. I'd love to do that.
Nice. Would you have a nice cool pun name for it?
No, Josh Perez. I'm not a fan of puns, so No.
I'm your favorite person then.
Oh, I love you, but yeah, no.
What about you, Casey? What's a story you'd like to write and draw?
I would like to, we all have our favorites. I always thought, once again, going back to combiners, like the special teams, there's a few characters that have been fleshed out here and there, but I'd love to see a book where, that winds up sort of like a superhero team book vibe, but it's, the 5 or 6 combiner members, it's just focused on them. I'm a big fan of the Protectobots, so I always thought that would be kind of an interesting group. Similar to Jack, you've got the cop, but then you got, First Aid, who I liked the pacifist angle from G1, and, Hotspot, Groove, and Blades the Hothead. I don't know, I just think the dynamic could be really fun. I'd like to do something with them. Obviously, Jazz is my obvious answer, but a lot's been done with him, and I don't have anything particular in mind. I just love drawing him. But yeah, I'd say the Protectobots would be a lot of fun.
What about you, Bertrams?
Yeah, I obviously I've been working on the Machine Wars project for a long time, and I'd like to pitch that eventually. Once I'm pretty okay with coming up with general ideas and stuff, but as far as the scripting, page to page dialogue and all that stuff, I'd love to find a partner to help out with that. The Machine Wars, I'd love to do something with Skylinks. I feel like he never gets enough love. No, I love him, and something with him. Yeah.
You know what I'd like to see is a series that looks at, maybe starts around maybe another 4 million years from now, and see where exactly this war between the Autobots and Decepticons would be at that point. Oh. Something along the lines of a G3 with a whole new slew of characters, no Optimus Prime, no Megatron, and just see where the world would be 4 million years from now.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And it would be a good opportunity. It would be a great opportunity to look at designing new characters and explore the lore in a different direction.
That is something I'd love to see, instead of just here's G1 again and the same guys, and I guess I love them and stuff, but it's okay, we've gotten that for 30 years now. I'd like to see what the future is what's past Beast Machine.
Yeah,
I'd
exactly.
like to see that.
That would be great. I'm gonna pair it Machine Wars with Bertram because I like Machine Wars a lot. I'd love to do that. I have an animated version of Machine Wars that I've been popping off and on, but never really doing anything serious with. But I also like the idea of outliers. On Twitter every now and again I go off on how I would love to see an X-Men style Transformers book of outliers versus outliers. I guess I like when Transformers are given special powers. I like when that there are individuals that don't necessarily need to rely specifically on just weaponry. I'd love to see more of that. That would be fun.
Agreed.
Let's see. This question is: do you enjoy the current run of IDW comics, or do you prefer the previous incarnation? I feel like it's a little. It might be a little unfair because the new one, it's pretty much just started. I feel like it's going to have to go for a little bit before anyone can really make a judgment call. That and the other, the previous universe has wrapped up, so you have all your favorite moments of it. You can pull anything out of there without expecting there to be anything else thrown into it. So it's finite. I think any finite series, it's easy to say whether or not you like it because it's wrapped up. I think the current one's going to have to take a little bit more time for me.
Yeah, I never compare things. I don't think there's any value to be found in comparing two different things. And I think that as you say, Josh, it's new and it's got some growing to do. Everything does grow. I really enjoy it. And I'm interested to see where it's going to go. I'm only up to issue 12. I got the big hardback
Oh, yeah?
I don't read individuals. So I got the hardback. So I'm only up to issue 12, but I think it's issue 12. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Anyone else commenting, or if not, I will move on to the next question.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would
with
just echo what
all
you guys
said
said
already.
Let's see. What are some of your favorite characters from across the franchise that don't happen to actually be Cybertronians? So I guess non-Transformer favorite characters, or non-Cybertronian favorite characters specifically. That kind of
Circuit Breaker.
Circuit Breaker. That's a good one.
Circuit Breaker. Yeah, Circuit Breaker.
See, I was going to say
Circuit Breaker.
sorry, but technically, I guess she's Cybertronian in origin, so that those.
Technicalities.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say kicker, because I like when there's a human character that actually feels useful to some degree. And right next to sorry, I think kicker's pretty neat. Then I like that he's got that whole henshin hero vibe going on.
Yeah.
But I love all those Marvel comic characters like Circuit Breaker and Black Rock.
Mm-hmm.
The mechanic.
I would. Oh yeah, the mechanic. Who was the whole team they had? They had that one guy that had he controlled Earth or seismic waves or something like that. Was that him? In the last few issues, they had that superhero team.
The Neo Knights.
The Neo Knights.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, really. I feel super negative. I have a negative answer to everything. I'm not a negative person, but I can't think of any non-Cybertronian character that I love or even really like. The kids in Prime I do like, so I guess them. But no, for me it's about the robots. I don't like. I mean, and I. The greatest respect to the creators and to everyone who loves the character, but I absolutely hate Death's Head. I can't with Death's Head. Just can't do it. And I know I'm hugely in a minority, probably in a minority of one, to be fair. And that's fine. But yeah, it's the robots, the Cybertronian robots for me, and then everything else is kind of noise as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Death's Head gets loads and loads of screen time, and Ruckus has had hardly any. Now, there's something very wrong
There you go.
there.
What about you, Thomas?
I already mentioned Circuit Breaker. She was one of my favorites back in the day. All those Marvel characters were really cool.
I'm surprised no one said like Spike or something, because I guess he's technically Fort Max. I don't know. I didn't like Spike until he became Fort Max. Honestly, he was just kind of in the way. Next question is, if you guys could have one tiny little Transformer and put it in your pocket and have it be your friend forever, who would you choose? Very important.
Like a living one?
Yeah, like a little Transformer friend in your pocket.
I was like, I already do that.
Does it? I wonder if it counts if they're already a pocket-sized Transformer, like Laserbeak from Armada, or any of those Real Gear movie Transformer guys, like the Binocular Dude. I'd have the Binocular Dude in my pocket. He'd look out for me.
There was one that turned into like a handheld video game, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd pick that one.
Or that transforming watch from the 80s.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Those dudes are cool.
Yeah, I had one.
Who drew the cover? There was a cover with him on it.
Oh, that
it
was
EJ.
EJ. Yeah, EJ.
All right, next question. Was
that a real question, or was that you, John?
No, mine would have been sillier. What's people's favorite issue?
That was a good question.
What are people's favorite issues from Transformers, from any of the series? Like, what are your favorite issues?
Oh, The Price of Life.
Price of Life is solid. I like the Matrix Quest series was a lot of fun for me because I feel like each story did something different. Like it was like I haven't read the Matrix Quest in like a year or two, but I remember each one, like the one with like Bumblebee like in the Pretenders. That one read kind of like a horror movie in a way, like an Aliens style horror movie. And then the Matrix, I think there was the Matrix Quest with Nightbeat was a little bit more of a mystery or something. I loved the Matrix Quest. I thought the Matrix Quest was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
For me, it's going to be, I don't know the issue, but the More Than Meets the Eye where Rewind and Chrome Dome, the I Love You issue, that's incredibly important to me, for, obviously as a gay guy, but also it's the first comic that ever made me cry genuinely, I think it's very, very important.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think there's a lot of early More Than Meets the Eye stuff that was really cool. That kind of, I mean, I kind of like have a connection to it because I worked on some of that earlier stuff, and so it's kind of like it's more mine, it's more personal, I guess. But there's a lot of impactful stuff with those. Well, one comic that sticks out to me, just I had as a kid, it was a Marvel book, and it had Optimus Prime like turning on the Autobots and like shooting at Prowl and stuff like that, and I don't remember the exact story. It's like it was a different Optimus head or something on the Optimus.
Yeah, that was a hacked Shockwave head.
Yeah. That one always really stuck with me, just because that cover image of Optimus like shooting and like Prowl's arm is hanging off by like a couple servos, and it was really that was really cool. Like I don't remember much of the story, but I was like, yeah, that impacts me.
One of my favorites back in the day was the issue where Megatron and Shockwave have that huge brawl, and Shockwave ends up becoming the leader of the Decepticons after. I think it was like issue 6 or 7 of the old Marvel series. Just loved that at the time. And another quick run that really caught my attention was Legacy of Unicron. I think that was Simon Furman's one of the UK series? I can't remember. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I always loved those, and if I had to think of a specific issue, it's just so tough. War Within was awesome too.
Oh yeah. I enjoyed War Within mostly because I liked seeing Don's takes on those the original More Than Meets the Eye. Yeah, those More Than Meets the Eye Cybertronian forms.
Yeah,
I absolutely loved those. Did Casey already answer? Oh yeah, Price of Life. He said Price of Life.
Yeah.
I got a little lost in his eyes. Let's see. What are some tips you all have for
I'll take this one, guys.
I'm gonna say that definitely should extend to traditional medium too. If anyone has anything they want to share with Copics or just working with physical form media.
You know what I think is really helpful is watching tutorials.
Yeah, there's a lot
online.
of YouTube stuff. Yeah.
And there's this school out in California called the Noman School of Entertainment, something like that, and they put out these tutorial DVDs on rendering, and I think a lot of little tricks that I've picked up over the years come from those tutorials. So if anybody asks, I always really refer them to these tutorials if they want to pack up their skill set.
I think, like online stuff is absolutely like a big thing. Look up, like I would look up and try to learn as much about color theory as I could. There's a lot of stuff in there that can help you tell the story better with color. Not that I'm amazing at it, but I try to put that stuff in practice.
He said lying through his teeth.
But I think it's valuable, and just trying to suit what you're working on. I guess that's more of like an established, like if you're already covering kind of what to do. As far as like learning, there's lots of online stuff. That's how I learned. Like someone just kind of took me under their wing and like walked me through like this is how my process is, and then eventually like videos are showing up that tell you different ways to do it. And there's 100 different ways to color and kind of find your own process, your own style.
That's one of the best things about making a lot of friends online that also mess around with digital coloring is a lot of people share their techniques and you learn a lot of stuff through that, and then you get to figure out what some people do that maybe you find a shorter way or a faster way of doing it, and then you share that with them, and then it's like a full circle thing.
Right.
I always make sure I have a color wheel next to my computer too, just so I could have easy reference.
This isn't necessarily a how to color better, but if your work is going to be printed, I suggest if especially if you're working RGB to have your Cmyk proofing on. One of the things I continuously see people make the mistake of doing is not having their Cmyk proof on, and either when they convert to Cmyk or when they get their work printed out, all the colors that tend to gray out and not be as vibrant in Cmyk, that all happens, and then they think it's the printer's mistake, and it's frustrating for me because I know people that have been that are way beyond me as professionals that do this. They don't do Cmyk previews, and then they're astonished when that super teal and indigo blue neon purple thing comes back. It's all like grayed. So in Photoshop, it's really easy. If you're working in RGB, just Control Y or Command Y. I don't know what it is on Apple, but just Control Y and you'll see what it looks like in Cmyk while you work, and you get the benefit of having the smaller file size with RGB. But have your Cmyk preview on, because it's gonna break your heart if you have a bunch of neon colors and you think it's gonna translate very well to print.
Yeah.
It also helps with some darker colors too. That's one of the things that really messed me up on Megatron Origins so long ago, was having a monitor that kept depolarizing or something like that. But I was never Cmyk testing my stuff, and so everything looked like it was okay. And so when it printed, it was all muddy and gross. But yeah, have your Cmyk preview on. That's a little thing that's gonna help you. And then also always sacrifice to the color gods. That's that should be without saying. You got to make sure a blood sacrifice, full moon,
once a week.
Yeah, you have to make sure the moon is on hard light though. If you sacrifice when the moon's on soft light, you're not gonna get that. That big a deal. So hold up, Bunny Robots. I don't know if Clip Studio Paint has a Cmyk preview. I only really know it.
But
Yeah, I'm still a creature of habit. Clip Studio Paint, by the way, I would suggest if anyone is trying to look for a program to use to color or just to draw, it's really good. It goes on sale like almost like every other month. Especially I know now. I think I don't know if it's still going on sale, but it was super cheap recently.
yeah,
It's a great alternative to Photoshop. There's a lot of stuff in there that Photoshop doesn't. I mean, I use CS5. I don't bother with the cloud, so I don't know if the cloud's changed it, but they have a lot of stuff like the perspective rulers are going to help you a lot. They have immediate comic panel masking that's probably going to help you a lot. There's a large
it's
library.
like tailor-made for drawing comics. I prefer it honestly for drawing. So
it's really good, and it's a lot cheaper, and it's not. I don't know if it's. I hope it doesn't go into software as a service. I don't like software as a service. I don't want to pay a monthly fee to use software. I want to have one. I want to own it and have it. So if anything goes wrong, I'm always going to have it on my computer, and it's always going to be able to use whether or not there's internet. But yeah, Clip Studio. If you ever get the chance, I would suggest it. If you have Photoshop, that's what I know, and I think Photoshop's just fun. Does anyone here use Copics or anything? Maybe any Copic tips? Because I don't have. I'm not great with Copics, so I can't throw any suggestions out there. Except for buy the the refills, the marker refills. You'll save yourself money in the long run. Instead of having to buy a brand new pen every time. I learned that the hard way. Next question.
Yes.
This isn't necessarily a question. I copied and pasted because I had a question mark on it. But This person is asking, is there any way possible that fans would be able to get full issues of older books minus the word balloons? I don't necessarily think that's a thing that can happen. Whenever previews come out, I know the artists tend to post, colorists especially tend to post the pages without any of the dialogue. But I don't think that's a thing that's going to happen anytime soon, because unless it's a book that is scripted to not have any dialogue, I think it's just going to confuse people in the long run.
I'm sure it's an NDA violation. It's an NDA violation.
Yeah, that too. I'm pretty sure, like, if there's a page in particular that people want, if you ask a colorist or if the artist has the full image of it, I'm sure they could maybe get a print for you if you know, and charge you for that or something. I don't know. I've had people do that with covers. They'll ask for a specific cover, and I don't mind getting it printed out and sent. Usually if it's a past cover and if it's not an exclusive. This question asks, what's your favorite TF comic moment that you have... Basically, what's your favorite TF comic moment that you've been a part of? It can be a cover, it can be a interiors or a story, but just something that you were a part of.
For me, it was when Megatron came back from the Functionist universe. I thought that was just so... a big splash page of my guy, and I thought, I knew that people were just gonna go crazy for it. I felt like I was part of something. Well, I already felt like I was part of something big, but that was, that we were coming into the finale then, so it really felt like I was picking up a head of steam, and it was, it's him. I love Megatron. So yeah, for me, it's definitely hands down that.
For me, it was Rodimus finally getting his hands on Getaway. Similar, people have been wanting to see that for so long, and I felt really lucky to be able to illustrate that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for me, I didn't realize it at the time, but I guess just bringing Overlord in on the record series, like his kind of first introduction, like I have always loved, like everyone always like attracted to those Japanese only figures, or European, because they just like weren't widely available. So it's like, ooh, Overlord, who's that? Ooh, Starsaber. They look so cool. I don't have him, so he's even more cooler to me.
He's so mysterious.
So mysterious. Yeah. So, I mean, I always liked the look of him and how he transformed the two different vehicles and combining. I love combiners, so he's like, yes, combiner, yeah. Oh, he's a Power Master too. Oh yeah, even better. So it was like really cool, but then just how the character evolved and kind of turned out to be bigger than that. He kind of took on his own identity in the books, which is really cool. And looking back, like I'm really proud to have been able to contribute to that in some small way, even if it was just like I colored him the right shade of blue, not that I had. Yeah.
What about you, Tommy?
I don't think I have an answer for that. I'm frantically looking through some old issues right now, and I don't know if I have
I like
special moment.
The work that you did on the BotCon animated book.
The StunCon?
The StunCon.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I thought that was freaking amazing. For the longest time, I didn't.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I was shown preview pages before the book came out. I didn't know who colored it, and for the longest time, it was driving me crazy trying to figure out who colored it, because I thought that it looked gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. In fact, I think the animated almanac has you listed as coloring that book.
Ooh, I hope it does. That's the best. That's one of the best things, is having your work credited under someone else.
That's probably one of my favorite.
That book was a lot of fun.
Yeah. My second Transformers cover, the color was credited to you, Tom. So
it was that right?
Yeah.
It happens.
The knockout breakdown one. Yeah, you did that.
I've grown to like whenever I'm miscredited as Josh, or he's miscredited as me. I tend to like that because it helps further the confusion of people trying to figure out which Josh did the thing they did.
Right.
I really hate the coloring in the series, but I absolutely loved getting to be a part of Megatron taking his headdress off, taking the helmet off and the headdress popping up from under it. I liked it. I seriously, I unironically like it. At the time, I thought it made him feel very like Mayan. Like he felt like very like a South American god in a sense. And to me, I thought that was pretty cool because the whole gladiator thing kind of had an echoing of like sacrifices or something. I would love to see him take his helmet off and have the giant headdress thing again. I would love it so much. I bother a lot of friends of mine that are part of unofficial Transformers properties that they got into a Megatron that you could take a helmet off and see his gorgeous little mane.
His flowing locks. It's like,
I want a whole serious conversation of him with with that flared mane. Just a nice, serious, animated discussion, and it's like, no, everyone's like, are we supposed to be taking this shit seriously right now? Like, I don't know what's happening. It's like being
it just
commanded.
like gradually gets bigger and bigger as he's talking.
Simba's trying to tell us important stuff right now. What's going on? I like this question. What is your favorite sort of what's your favorite kind of kibble or design element on a Transformer? So like what's a recurring kind of kibble or some form of design element that you like on a Transformer?
Door wings, anything wings.
Nice.
That's me.
Yeah.
You got me.
Yeah.
I like wheels that are on the forearms or on the feet, because I used to love when I was playing with Transformers as a kid. Like I used to always think that they would start running their tires, and if they like you punch someone or you kick someone, you keep the tires going for that extra hit. I like any Transformer kibble that can be incorporated into fighting. So anything like that. What about you, Tommy, Jack, and Casey?
I would say wings. I think particularly the door wings on the G1 cars like Prowl and Smokescreen. I just love those, and drawing them as well. You know, get some nice kind of drama to the back of the character. Yeah, I think but it's a really close tie between the Seekers and between those. But I think the cars just about get it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The car parts, that was, as a kid, the magic was like, the robot turns into a car. So, the more actual car parts you see on the robot that, unless they look, ridiculously out of proportion, I just like seeing the actual car parts on the robot.
Yeah.
On the opposite end of that, I love thrusters. Anything with thrusters. So like the Seekers, they in the back of their heel, it's sort of a kind of like a rocket or a thruster. I love that element on the characters.
This is a question for Casey specifically. With Jazz, with or without door wings?
Oh, I like him with. I mean, the original animated didn't have it, but I don't know. I was a big fan of the toy. In my head, he has the door wings, but I'll accept him either way.
This next question is, what are your thoughts on upcoming Transformers versus Terminator? I don't know why I said Transformers weird like that, but Transformers versus Terminator. Thoughts, discuss.
Seems like fun.
Yeah,
I think
I really like these crossovers that we're doing. Yeah, like the Star Trek one that we did. Like they're just fun and just kind of out of this, and it's nice to be able to, like, when we have these, that okay, this is just like, it's not going to be super serious. Like we're just gonna have a good, just gonna be a short little series. We're in and out. So I'm looking forward to it, and especially those preview pages that were just posted, whatever. Like the outlook looks really, really sharp, and I'm curious to see how it goes. Yeah, I like Terminator. I like Transformers. Why not? Why not both?
Alex has been showing me some of the pages as he does it, and they've all been really amazing. I like them. They all suck. All the pages suck. I hate them. No, it's really. It looks like it's going to be a fun book. I like the series, just like Bertram said, because I like these crossovers. I like more stories. I want more stories that I don't mind having a mainline Transformer book, but I want more stories that are disconnected from everything. Stuff that you can just pick up and read, and then just put away and read again, maybe like Mars Attacks Transformers and stuff like that. I'd love to see more crossover comics. I want more fun crossover comics. Especially with some of the properties that are under the IDW umbrella already. I would love to see Ninja Turtles and Transformers. I would love to see Power Rangers and Transformers. Which Power Rangers Transformers might be a little bit more possible than Turtles, but so long as the stories are fun, as long as I don't want to say they don't take themselves seriously, but at the end of the day, I feel like you can't take yourself seriously if you're playing with the crossover between, like, you know, Transformers and Terminator. But it looks like it's going to be a fun story. I hope it is. I haven't read any of it.
I'd love to see a crossover with Inhumanoids. Anybody remember Inhumanoids?
Yeah.
I think Inhumanoids would be great.
It's a Hasbro property.
Oh, what's this? Make sure. I want to make sure I keep up with these questions. A lot of people are saying they're excited for My Little Pony and Transformers. I am too.
Yeah.
I'm not really a My Little Pony person, but I just that can't be a not fun series. You know, it's that's 100% got to be a series that's entertaining.
I wasn't a My Little Pony guy before working on that, and now I'm just like, I'd just give me all of it. I'd love it. Working on it was just so much fun, just so brilliant. I hope people enjoy it. It's, you know, it's obviously it's a bit silly and it's fun, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. You wouldn't want it to. But yeah, it's just and I got to work on some Transformers that are very dear to my heart that I've never worked on professionally before. So so I'm excited about that too.
Jack, you have a couple specific questions I'm going to follow up with. Someone wants to know who your favorite pony is.
That is Applejack.
And then someone wants to know if you've watched the Friendship is Magic show.
Yeah, I am. I'm working through it. I don't get a great deal of time to sit and watch things. I have my stories that I work and I listen to, but something like Friendship is Magic, it's so beautiful to look at that I want to sit and watch it, and I don't get a great deal of time. So I think I'm around about episode 20 of season 1, I think. But yeah, I just love it. It's just so brilliant.
And Casey, you're on the book too, right?
Yes.
Do you have you seen Friendship is Magic?
I have. You know, I would watch it similar to animated with my daughter. She was really into it. She was like the target age range when that show first came out, and you know, so I would sit there and watch it with her. And I just thought it was really nice, really cute, colorful, well done show all around. You know, if you have kids, sometimes you watch kids shows that are a real chore to get through, and that one was a real treat. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I was really happy to be able to work on it.
Do you got a favorite pony?
Favorite pony? I mean, I feel like it's the you know, the Wolverine favorite X-Men answer to say it, but I would say Rainbow Dash.
Yeah.
I really like Scootaloo as well from the.
I like the name Scootaloo. I don't know.
Cmyk Crusaders. So that was the first thing I really liked about it. About her was the name Scootaloo. It's so silly, fun to say, but yeah, they're cute, great. I love them. Bring them on. I want more.
I'm gonna extend favorite pony question to Josh and Tom.
The purple one.
The purple one? That's Purple nice. Cron. The Purple Cron, the pony from hell. And no, I don't. Do you mean what's the thing?
Twilight Sparkle.
Yeah, I knew
Twilight Sparkle.
Yes. Yeah. That's the one. That's the one.
What about you, Mr. Birchman?
Yeah, I don't really know enough about him to have a favorite. I don't know.
I'm in the same boat, but I know someone offered to give me a Bumble Sweet to put in the hive a while ago, so I'm going to say Bumble Sweet because it sounds like Bumblebee. Next question would be then, if you could work on a property outside of Transformers, what would it be? I don't know if I've asked this one before.
Yeah, I think that was the first question you asked.
Oh, okay.
I'll just reiterate Dungeons and Dragons. I really want that known to all. I want to do a dungeon, but I want to do all ages Dungeons and Dragons because I love the IDW books, Dungeons and Dragons books they do now. I love them, but you know, there's swears in there sometimes, and kids are Dungeons, Wizards of the Coast are bringing out a lot of stuff for kids for Dungeons and Dragons. Kids are getting around the table, and I think that's important. And it's families are all playing together, but there's nothing fiction-wise, ongoing fiction for kids. So I'd like to do something like super cute. And the old He-Man cartoon was fantasy. Yeah. Sci-fi fantasy, but they carried swords and there was no slicing and stabbing and all that. So you can do it, and I just think that something that's more kid friendly. I'd like to do. I'm just doing. I'm working on playing online to keep our sessions going, and I'm designing the avatars for the monsters, and they're really. I'm specifically making them very, very cute. So when I'm able to, I'll share them on social media. So it's kind of just a show. But yeah, I just like cute.
I think cute is a good way to go. What about? Because I just realized that this was one of the first questions asked, but this was during the audio issues. So it's probably good that we run through it again. What about you, Casey?
I said earlier that I'd love to work on like a take on one of the Final Fantasy games because they happen and then they're done and then the next one is, an entirely different story. But I think Final Fantasy VI in particular, I just love that little universe they built. I think it'd be fun to kind of continue it on with a comic book, other than create our own stuff, which we talked about a bit also.
What about you, Josh?
I think I mentioned Mass Effect and more or less anything. Like, I'd like to. I had some people ask me, like, even at C2E2 at the show, like, what would you like to work on? Like, what's something? And I'd like to do, like, I think I'd be suited for something like Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that. Like, that'd be pretty fun, like space and colors and glowing stuff. And I'd be into that. Doing Batman.
There's a quick question for you. Someone says they know you pre-ordered Hasbro Pulse Unicron. Where are you going to fit it on your shelves?
Oh yeah, absolutely nowhere. Yeah.
Are you gonna buy a booster seat and just have him chilling out?
Yeah, he's probably gonna be on my bed, and I'll just sleep on the floor.
And then Thomas. Oh no, I sorry, I interrupted you. You're talking about working on a Batman book, right?
Oh yeah. Like I think that's kind of anybody's answer. It's like, oh yeah, I want to work on like some big character that we all love, for sure. But
do you have a preference on a Batman book, like just a regular line Batman or Batman Beyond, or?
I mean, yeah, anything like Batman Beyond would be super fun too, because that's kind of like futuristic, and I'm into that stuff. Yeah.
And what about you, Tomas?
Oh, well, I mentioned a little earlier about Inhumanoids. Now that I think about it a little bit more, I'd love to see IDW get their hands on that property. It is a Hasbro property, so I'm sure that there's a way to do it. I just don't know how marketable it is. But I love that show from the 80s, and it'd be awesome to work on it. Outside of IDW, Punisher is probably my favorite Marvel character, and I'd love to do some work in any way for Punisher at some point. I also mentioned earlier when you asked this question initially, Star Wars is something that's really close to my heart, and I'm lucky enough right now to be working on the new Clone Wars comic from IDW. So that's something that's probably maybe 3 weeks away from coming out. So really happy about that.
Thanks.
I've been I think everything I've wanted to work on I've managed to, like for the longest time it was Mega Man. That's the one I really wanted to do, and I started working on the Master Mix comics with Hitoshi Hariga, and that was fun. I can't really think, because I can't really think. You know what, Spider Ham. I'd love to do a Spider Ham book. I like the idea of doing a superhero book, but one that is just silly. I don't like doing serious takes on stuff usually. I like doing a lot of fun. I like having a lot of fun. I like it when half the superheroes and villains have pun names. I like when you can do silly things like Spider Ham eating a hot dog. I don't know, stuff like that's always been fun for me. I'd love to do Spider-Ham.
I'd love to work on Masters of the Universe, but
Oh yeah.
Mattel and DC don't seem to want the same thing from the comic that I do. So I've just kind of given it up. I don't want to work on it the way it exists now. Again, I'd like it to be more kid friendly.
People seem to think that the only way you can bring He-Man back is if they're really stabbing each other and swearing and that's not
doesn't interest me at all.
I think that's fun. That's fun for like if you want to do like a little pocket Batman, Dark Knight Returns kind of comic. But I mean, you have characters like Fisto and Manny Faces, and like you can't treat yourself like you're this serious epic when you've got names that are just supposed to make kids.
Well, exactly. My favourite Master of the Universe character is Stinkor. even the old show refused to have him on the show because he was too silly. That's my headphones on. But embrace that. He's a villain who smells bad. Embrace it.
I want him to do more with the asteroid characters, Rockon and Rockon and Stondar?
Stondar, yeah. They were so lame.
They were incredibly. They transformed by just like fetal position is pretty much what it was. They just kind of punched over. I'll stick with fetal position because the other one's presenting, quote unquote. But one of the questions we've gotten is, do any of you have TFsonas? If yes, would you describe them? I don't necessarily think I understand what a TFsona is. Like,
it's you as a transformer, isn't it? Yeah, I don't. I'm hoping that we will, some of us, or all of us here, will at some point do a Transformers D&D session. So that would count as a TFsona, I would think, but they're undeveloped in the future somewhere.
I think the closest I have is Pugogi, who started off as he was supposed to be a little robot representation of me back when I had like goggles and wore a beanie, but he was supposed to be like me when I was gonna do tutorials, but that never happened, so I just reworked him as a Cybertronian chef. And I used him in a very brief Transformers D&D game. That kind of fizzled out a little bit, but that's pretty much it. I don't think I have anything close to a Sona past that.
James Roberts has said that if I had a Transformers avatar, it would be Roller, which I'm very, very comfortable with. So I guess that would be, I would be Roller.
It's too bad Roberts isn't here. That would be Rung, right?
That would be long.
It would either be Rung. No, I'm saying it would be Rung or it would be Pincher.
Oh, Rung. Yeah.
Or someone threw up his face next to Pincher's Pretender shell, and that matched rather perfectly.
Yeah. Do you know, I think we did that in the pub about 20 years ago at a con in 2001. Yeah.
Let's see. I'm assuming that's a nix on everyone else.
Yeah, I don't really like. I've created characters and stuff, but I never like put myself in. Like, this is me if I was a Transformer kind of thing.
Let's see. Is there an underused character that you wish could get a larger role in the future?
Roller.
I think everyone knows what my answer would be. No?
Stinkor.
No.
I mean,
Stinkertron.
Ruckus.
What about you, Casey?
I would say Ricochet or Stepper. Somebody mentioned, I think it was Bertram was talking about those Japanese figures that, in the early days of the internet, you were like, wow, that existed. It seems so, I can't even believe that's really a thing. Like, I was obviously, being a huge jazz fan, just fascinated by this black and white repaint of jazz. But I'd love to see something done with him. I mean, he'll pop up in a background now and again, but I don't think he's really had anything prominent, at least.
For me, it'd be like DevCon or like Punch Counter Punch, like totally underutilized characters that I think have quite a bit of potential.
Punch Counterpunch, I feel, has a lot of that's like a multi-arc story you
Oh,
can tell
yeah,
with just
well,
him alone.
Psychological stuff that you can go into. Yeah.
I feel like he would have been perfect on the Lost Light. I'm a little disappointed that he was kind of MIA from all the stories. Was he killed off? I feel bad because I don't know if he was just maybe he was killed off or something.
I honestly don't even know. Yeah.
I think a lot of the pretenders for me, specifically like Pincher, I loved Pincher growing up. He was like one of the first like non-Bumblebee toys I gravitated to heavily. I don't know what stories you tell with Pincher. I just feel like I'd like to see Pincher in stories. Road Handler as well. A lot of my favorite Transformers that are underused are Micromasters, Road Handler, Fix It. I love that Fix It kind of popped up in the RID books for a minute. That was nice. But Hyperdrive, Blackjack. What is it? Is it Flak? Part of the military patrol guys. I always mess their names up.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see them used more.
When I was a kid, I was really fascinated by Top Spin and Twin Twist. And at the time, they were one of the only toys that were available that came in the Cybertronian mode. So I always thought there'd probably be some kind of cool backstory behind those characters. So I'd love to see a spotlight or something that just focused on their background.
The whole split spark thing in the IDW 1.0 verse or whatever, that was really interesting. It would have been cool to see those guys get more story time, I guess.
I thought it was a shame that some of the gimmicks that Budiansky had written in, I assume he was still doing it, like with Bombburst, he's a vampire, but that's never made its way into fiction as far as I know. But like when I was a kid, I got him as a kid, and first thing I did when I got home was have him holding someone with like fuel coming from his fangs to their throat. I just think that sort of thing, I just like to see it, even just in passing, just have it mentioned. But yeah, it just kind of gets glossed over. And that kind of, all those kind of nice character gimmicks, just for me,
it's like all the outlier stuff, right?
Yeah, that really sold the whole thing to me, and that's what I loved about it, was the different personalities and the different powers and skills that they had, and often just nothing was done with them.
Let me get these last few. Let me get these last few in. I just realized we breezed through this hour and a half. So let's get these last questions in. I'm going to merge these two together. Someone asked favorite combiners to draw and not to draw, and then someone else asked favorite character to draw in color. So I'm going to combine those two and say what's a favorite character that you like to draw and your least favorite to draw, and extend it to color too. Also, Derek J. Wyatt says he wants to play Transformers D&D, so you got to get on that, Jack.
Yeah, well, he's definitely on the list for being definite to play it.
He's on the list.
He's on the list. I hate drawing Getaway. I just don't. It just doesn't work for me. I'm not keen on these bits here.
You do it so well, though.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I love drawing Autobot Megatron.
What about,
did you get that? Or
No, I was just coughing. I was backing away, so I'm
okay.
hacking into the snowballs. What about combiner? Do you have a favorite combiner? Draw / least favorite to draw?
I've only drawn Defensor, I think. I don't think I've drawn anyone else. The combiners were not someone that I would go out of my way to. I was never really grabbed by them enough so Defensor was the only one I've done professionally. I mean, I have drawn Piranacon. I loved my new favourite combiner is Abominus because of the Combiner Wars, or was it Titan's Return by then? Whatever. I thought that toy was just fantastic. I think it was Power of the Primes, wasn't it? But anyway, I thought that. So he's taken over from Defensor as my favourite combiner, and I actually would quite like to draw him. I love, and they're all monsters, and I love monsters.
What about you, Birchies?
Yeah, favorite to draw. I don't know. Like, I always default for like Optimus because he's like iconic and easy. I have a good time drawing like the Seekers and stuff like that. Even though I'm not like super a fan, like I seem to draw them a lot and I have fun doing it. But I'm not like they're not really my favorite characters. Hardest to draw is probably any. Gosh, I don't know. The default answer is like movie stuff, obviously, but even then, I like to like stylize it and just kind of make it my own, and you have to almost. I mean, never draw it exactly right. They cheat enough in the movies, but yeah, I don't know. A lot of people think like the bigger characters would be harder to draw. I mean, I guess if you're trying to get in that like James Ray's level of detail, whatever that it could. But yeah, I mean, they're all cool. I don't really have one that I hate drawing. I mean, there's designs that are kind of tough to like wrap your head around. Like I've always had the hardest time with like the MSCI hot rod design. Just there's so many curves and stuff like that that my brain has a hard time like grasping sometimes. But yeah, as far as like favorite combiner, I've always loved the Computron, the Technobot.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see more of them. I've always been a fan of their alt modes and stuff like that. And sci-fi people is a Tron motorcycle. So, love to see more of them, but yeah.
I think Mudpie is trying to give us his answer from the other end. What about you, Casey? You got a favorite Transformer to draw / least favorite, and then extending that to combiners.
I guess I'd start with the combiner. I think with the combiners, it kind of goes back to what Jack was talking about earlier, where, the end result is a lot of fun, but drawing, the actual process of drawing them can really be a chore. Because I am one of those people that I want to get all the details in there, and when you're doing a combiner, it's just so tedious. But I would say, as far as like what you can do with them in the end result, I like Devastator because they're all construction vehicles. You can get, there's a lot of different parts hanging off, like the crane and the scoop and all that stuff. And then you got to assume they're kind of dirty and grungy, which can be fun to add with the detail. Favorite to draw? I guess I'll go the opposite of Jack. I had a great time drawing Getaway in that one issue. Something about the design really worked for me. The helmet shape and, just, I don't know, all the little details. When I look at a Transformer, sometimes it's hard to, you look at the picture on the page and it's hard to translate, like, how does that really work? To draw it at different angles and, like, am I putting this in the right place? Is that supposed to go there? But Getaway just instantly clicked. So I don't know. I really enjoyed drawing him. There's a lot that I like to draw. I like to draw the characters that have big, full personalities. So a lot of the G1ers that have the big personality are what I have a lot of fun drawing. Least favorite to draw. I would say I don't have a particular least favorite. I can't stand Bayverse. I understand, what it did for the franchise, and I totally appreciate that. But as far as drawing it, I feel like those are meant to be animated on a computer. They're not meant to be drawn. So there's nothing I enjoy about drawing any of those. So that's what I got.
And then Tommy?
No, I'd say my go-to character to draw is Galvatron, G1 Galvatron. Always just loved the whole look of Galvatron. So if I ever find myself sketching, that's usually the first character I go for. I don't really draw too many combiners. I'd say the character the combiner I draw the most is probably Devastator. Even coloring Devastator, I just love the color scheme. Yeah. And And speaking of combiners and coloring, I'd say the least favorite that I like to color is Victorion. I find that her color scheme is really difficult to render, and especially when you do convert it to CMYK.
Yes.
I've wasted a lot of time rendering that character, and when I do convert it to CMYK, I'm never happy with the result.
Yeah, it's that teal, man. That teal just doesn't.
Yeah.
Because it leans too much into the into like a green spectrum in a sense.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, when it leans more into, when it's more of a cyany teal, it works. But the moment it reaches into green, it teals out so bad.
Yeah, I find myself having to take a little bit of liberty with adjusting the color scheme just a little bit, so I could sort of rendering kind of make sense.
Yeah, that was a Dark Cybertron. The whole book had so much energon happening in it. It was so disappointing. Yeah, because you have to lean all those purples into red hues, so that way you can get some sort of color, so everything looks more pink.
I hate doing purples. Hardest to do, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like B. I like drawing B. But I think I like to draw anyone from animated, just because they're a lot more freeing. Their forms are a lot more fun to play with. I don't really have someone that I hate drawing, because I haven't really done too much. Like, I don't know, like all the commissions I get, no one's asked me to draw someone that I'm like, I just hate it. Flatting, there's a ton of characters I hate coloring specifically because of their flats. Getaway is one of those people. I don't like characters that have a lot of little colors in spots that like where like a nice solid color would work better. I like colors to be as simple as possible, but there are some like the original, like Rung's original color scheme. I can't break away from it. I stay every time I render Rung. It's got to be all those precious metal colors, and I grumble every time I do it because he's got like 8 or 9 different colors on his body. But no, I can't think of someone that I can think of a lot of people I hate coloring, but I can't really think of people that I don't like drawing. I know Galvatron in Robots in Disguise / Transformers, whatever it was called. He had all these like little colors in places I just couldn't stand. That's it on my end, I guess.
You mentioned about commissions and getting commissions. Yeah, I want to make it clear that if people want me to draw Getaway, then I'm happy to do it. I don't want to handcuff people to never giving me Getaway to draw. I'm happy to. It's just that
I think
out of them all.
I think a lot of us are talking like when you have to draw a character panel to panel, like that.
Yeah,
that's where a lot of the frustration is.
Yeah.
And then these are the last 3 questions. Do you do the character voices and or make laser noises when you draw?
Laser noises for sure.
Yeah, I do that whenever neons are coming onto colors. I'm always doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, explosion noises I make. Yeah.
Expressions, right? You can't not make the expression on your face when you're drawing.
That's the thing. Yeah. A lot of the time, my husband will, because I draw in the front room, so my desk is just in front of the sofa, and my husband is on the sofa, usually watching television, and I'll be working, so I work in the evenings as well. And sometimes he'll just say, "Are you okay?" Because I'm doing something incredibly bizarre with my face. I don't know I'm doing it, but yeah, you can't help it. It's just you're living your character.
Right, and the last one would be, what are some of your favorite and least favorite alt modes to draw? I'm gonna say, I'm gonna jump in and say anything that's a realistic vehicle, because I'm gonna make it look like crap. If it's Cybertronian, there's a lot more playing room.
I'm gonna say I worked on Lost Light, so I've never drawn an alt mode.
Yeah. Yeah. was the question? Which ones do you like or not like? Is that
well, your favorite and least favorite alt modes to draw.
Okay, yeah. I think I always have a tricky time with like jets, just because like the wings and like when you're doing it in perspective, it's like what looks right, what's realistic, and sometimes like that's not like I hate it, but it's just like it's one of the ones that I have to like concentrate the most on, I guess, in order to get right. But I'm a big like classic car kind of guy, so I like drawing those. Like even what you're saying, like it probably won't look much like it, but yeah, I like to reinterpret that kind of stuff though. So.
Yeah, I don't mean to sound lazy, but nothing too complex. You know, if something that's, you know, smooth and sleek and you know, simple, I guess, for lack of a better word. I like that, but you know, I can't think of a particular one, but you know, just nothing too complex. I think I'm coming off as lazy in this whole thing.
Casey's the laziest of us all. Look at him do nothing.
I might be.
We're actually watching a pre-recording that he's perfectly synced his discussion.
You know my secrets.
How about you, Tommy?
I think when drawing alt modes, I like Cybertronian modes. I like spaceships. I don't like to especially draw the Earth vehicles because of the wheels.
Yeah.
I think ellipses are the bane of my existence when I'm drawing an alt mode. So I'm always happy when it's time to draw a spaceship or a Cybertronian mode with no wheels.
Sorry, Derek's saying we should tell Alex Milne's story since he's not around. I got too many Alex stories. My favorite ones are the ones that don't have them there. Like Derek telling people to milne it up when they were doing the voice auditions for Hosehead. Good times. But that's the questions. That's all the questions. I guess that's it. Unless you guys have anything specific you'd like to talk about to run out the clock. Is anyone on a specific project that they can discuss? Or not discuss, but give everyone a heads up that they're on that's coming out. I know some were mentioned before, but this would be a good time to reiterate since we're closing up.
Yeah, I'm finishing up Transformers Galaxies #8, so those books are coming out. So be on the lookout. 7 and 8 are ones that I got to work on, full colors on the inside, so that's cool. Check them out.
What about you, Tommy?
I just finished Star Trek Year 5, issue 12. I think it's going to be coming out in a couple of months. And just this past Friday, I finished issue 4 of Star Wars Adventures Clone Wars. So I think that's coming out at the end of April. It kind of matches up with the new Clone Wars season that's on Disney+. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about both of those titles, and they're going to be coming out soon. And I just drew up 2 covers. One is for Transformers Galaxies #10, I think it is, and then the other one just came out this past week for Transformers 19.
Is that the one with with Alpha Trion on it?
Yeah, Alpha Trion and Ultra Magnus, and then
that one was great.
Thanks. And then I did that Bumblebee one last week.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah. That's about it for me.
Jacked. Wait, did
I've got some Sonic related stuff coming out, but it's super top secret, so I can't say what that is. There's the Ultra Magnus cover that you and I are doing, Josh Perez. I don't know, is that issue 10?
I think so, yeah.
It's either 10 or 11. It's one of the Ultra Magnus ones. So that's coming up. At the moment, I think that's it. Yeah.
There's a quick question for Jack if you liked the Sonic movie.
Oh, I loved it. Oh my goodness me, I loved it. Yeah, and I sort of expected to not hate it,
Mhm.
but because I loved the new design, and I expected to kind of think it was all right, but yeah, I was in bits by the end of it. Actually, in the cinema on my own, sobbing because I loved it so much.
The post credit piece of that movie really, like, I enjoyed it, but the post credit piece I was not expecting, and it made me really happy. And now there has to be a part 2.
Yeah.
What about
They're
you?
releasing it early. Forward to that. Yeah.
What about you, Casey? Mr. Casey Kasems? Top 100 beautiful
I don't
live
have-
actions.
I just don't know how to respond to those things. So long. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Nothing major. I'm doing covers on the Transformers '84 comic, so I've got issue 3 and 4 to do there, and that's about all I have lined up for official comic work at the moment.
This whole self-quarantining stuff is new to all of us. We're used to being out and being around a million people and working around a million people in our cubicles all the time. Well, thank you guys.
I just don't know what to do with myself.
Thank you all for popping on. I really appreciate it. Hopefully,
Thanks for moderating, Josh.
I'm glad we got the audio issue out the way. Although I'm sure everyone's kind of hoping. We're kind of hoping that the audio issue on my end wasn't going to get fixed, but hopefully, maybe this is something we could all do in the future at some point. You know, it doesn't have to necessarily be when something's been canceled. Maybe we could hype up convention appearances in the future or something. But for now, I really appreciate you guys for popping on. I appreciate everyone for popping in and interacting with us. This was a lot of fun. And we'll be doing there'll be another group of people, and if anyone here wants to jump in for Group B, if you're that tired and don't care, you're more than welcome to. But we're going to have another stream at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and about an hour from now, pretty much. So, yeah, thanks for popping in.
Thanks for putting this together, Josh.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Good to talk to everyone.
I love you.
Something's been canceled, maybe we could hype up convention appearances in the future or something. But for now, I really appreciate you guys for popping on. I appreciate everyone for popping in and interacting with us. This was a lot of fun. And we'll be doing there'll be another group of people, and if anyone here wants to jump in for Group B, if you're that tired and don't care, you're more than welcome to. But we're going to have another stream at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and about an hour from now, pretty much. So, yeah, thanks for popping in.
Thanks for putting this together, Josh.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Good to talk to everyone.
I love you.